This will completely change the way that you use promises and make your life way easier. So in our first example, I have 3 functions that all return a promise: baking a cake, making some icing, and setting a table. And I'll handle all of these promises right down here. So if I run this code, it will work. We'll bake a cake, make some icing, and set a table. But this is a lot of code and it can be shortened up. And you can do that with a built-in function called Promise.all. So now I can replace all of this code with just 3 lines of code. Promise.all takes what's called an iterable. It's just a list of your promises. After that, you're just going to use this .then and pass in the data. Now the data it takes is just an array of everything that's been resolved. And finally, all of these promises will be returned at the same time. So if you run this code, you won't just see icing is made, table is set, and then cake is baked. Instead, you'll see all 3 of these in just one array. Now there is one big catch that you need to be aware about when using Promise.all. And it's that if one of these promises fails, the entire operation fails. I'll show you what I mean. If we change this from resolve to reject, so we're putting this promise into the failure state, and you run this code again, instead of seeing this list, you'll see a whole error. And even the 2 promises that were successful still won't return. So Promise.all is really useful when just shortening up your code, but that's one thing to be aware about when using Promise.all. This second built-in function actually removes that problem for us. And that function is .all.settled. All you have to do is change this from all to all.settled. And this is very similar to .all. You'll pass in a list of your promises, and the data you get back will be a list. But here's the difference. The data that's in this list won't just be the resolved promise. Instead, it'll be an object. And this object will have 2 properties: the status, so whether it was successful or it was rejected, and the reason it was rejected or the value of the promise, so whatever you're resolving. So if you run this code, it works very similar to .all, but instead of just the list, you'll see the list of objects. And you'll notice that it returns everything, so whether it was rejected or not, it will return everything. This final function is to find out which one is the fastest promise. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And in the description, there's a GitHub repo full of real-world examples with a bunch of comments explaining everything that's happening. And while you're down there, you might as well subscribe. And this one is called .race. So now instead of returning all of the promises, it will return only one promise, and that's the fastest promise. So I changed 2 things about the setTable function. It's now 1 second instead of 2 seconds, and it resolves instead of rejects. So if you run this code, setTable should return first, because it only takes 1 second, as opposed to 2 seconds or 3 seconds. Now, what's the point of using .race? There are actually a lot of use cases for it. For example, you could get the fastest response from a server. You could also get the fastest loading file. So there are lots of different use cases for all of these functions. The trick is to find when and where to use them. So make sure that you look at that GitHub repo to deepen your knowledge and build something great.